Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lighthouse Path Podcast, where we help you shine your light out into the world. And in the studio with me is a longtime friend, somebody I admire greatly. And I just love how she shines her light and where she shines it because Brenda Martino is what you would call a midlife transition mentor, especially for women who are in the second half of their life and living alone. Not only does she support them so that they don't feel loneliness, but she also helps them to live vibrant lives by staying strong, increasing the quality of their life so they can continue to live an independent life as they wish to do so. Brenda, thank you for coming into the studio and chatting with me about this topic today. Is all about how you support your clients, how you build relationship with them, and I'm thrilled you're here.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, Stacy, and thank you for that lovely introduction.
It's all true. All true. All right. So I know for you, especially in the work that you do, if you have a client, they are not usually a one and done, as they say. It's not a transaction. You're staying with them for quite a long time. You're building true relationships.
Yes.
How do you do that? In what is your preferred way to be able to help a client know that you're there for them for a long time to come?
Well, number one is just communication and staying in touch, um, reaching out to them and seeing how they're doing on their own instead of just in a group, because a lot of people are not going to feel comfortable sharing things, their struggles or their personal things in a group situation. So I have a Facebook group and I have a chat, but just talking to people one on one, a short call or just a little conversation, just a reach out, how you doing, um, works wonders. I
And
I love that, so I hope people would do it back to me in return. So
well, beautiful, beautiful. But when you're reaching out, you've shared with us a little bit about what you cover
Mhm.
and how often do you do it, and is there anything that um, is especially important to do in these reach outs?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit about my background. I'm a widow, and I suffered for a long time because I did not have that community that I needed. And so what I'm trying to build or working on building is a community of women who can support each other, but most of them I have met in widows groups or because they've become a widow, and I've supported them through that. So, and by support, I have talked to them individually by phone or by messenger phone, um, and just talked about their situation and what's going on and how I handled things. So it's it depends upon their situation. There are some people that I may reach out to every day for a while or every other day, depending on their situation. And then as they get more comfortable and are more willing to get out and do things, maybe just back off in every couple of weeks or once a month or so, just to let them know that I'm still there if they need me. And I also work on looking at their posts on Facebook to see what they're posting about and to see if they might need a little support from me.
So you stalk them a little bit.
Pardon me?
You stalk them a little bit.
I do, just a little. They don't seem to mind though.
Well, I'm sure it's nice. If they want support, they probably like having somebody who's checking in on them, especially since they're alone for
Right.
whatever reason.
Right.
right? Yeah, divorced, widowed, or just always were single.
Yes.
Now, I know that you have based your business on your core values, that you bring the core values very consciously into your business. You had shared with me before that
Hmm.
your values are integrity, kindness, education, and wellness. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So, how would a client know? I mean, do you say to them right at the beginning, I want you to know these are my values? Or do you do it in a more subtle way? Or what's your way of building your business from your core values?
Well, um, I am always a kind person, um, especially on social media. I just feel like kindness is needed in this day, and I do not like to see people alienated or get their feelings hurt because of something. So that seems more natural to me than anything. And of course, integrity is just showing up and keeping your word on doing things. To me, that's what integrity is. And I think people just get to know that after a while, and you don't have to say, okay, this my core values are integrity, kindness, and then of course education and wellness. I'm a retired teacher, so teaching is kind of in my my blood, and I've always been interested in wellness. Even when I was a little girl, i I liked things about the human body. I liked learning about that stuff, so I feel like those things are just part of me, and hopefully people will understand that once they read my posts and see me and get to know me.
I'm careful about what to ask you because I know you so well. And I was like, I think I can say this. You grew up on a farm. So what
I
was
did.
it about growing up on a farm that made you interested in the human body?
Well, I guess, being around animals, you kinda learn a lot about life, especially when you've got cows and dogs and cats having babies and things like that, so you just kinda learn, and so, I was always a curious child, and so I would ask questions that sometimes would make my parents squirm. But I wanted to know. I wanted to know where babies came from, and I wanted to know, how do you s how do you get strong muscles like my dad, how do you yeah, all of that stuff. So, yeah, growing up on a farm, I think, just made me more curious than anything.
Yeah. Well, and nobody would believe I'm not going to reveal your age. Nobody would believe it looking at you. But one of the things you brought up the word, which I was going to, a strength. I'm actually surprised you call it wellness, but we've talked before, and I know
Yeah.
that having strength as one gets older, physical, emotional, and mental strength is extremely important to you and a key part of the education you
Yes.
provide. And do you want to say more about that? Because that's really what I would say is the foundation of whatever you do with your clients is strength building in those four areas.
Yes. Strength is very important to me, and I'm blessed that I have had a very healthy life, and I've always been strong. But strong as in being able to do things, to use my body, and to, just be healthy. But as I am getting older, I was realizing that if you don't use it, you lose it. And I went through a period where I was mourning, and you know, COVID happened, and those things just kind of knocked me off my tracks for a while.
Yeah.
And then I had another health scare last year when I had a little heart problem, which I was not expecting, and so had to have some medical intervention. And it just made me realize then I was going through some cardiac rehab. And it made me realize when I went in that I had let myself go a lot more than I thought I had, that I wasn't capable of doing a lot of things that I could have done a couple of years ago. So I really threw myself into rehab and getting stronger and getting my heart functioning properly. And at that time, it was a 3-month program, and I finished it in 2 months. I reached my goals in 2 months. So that just kind of told me and that anything that you put your mind to, you can do. And so having the proper guidance helped me the most. Um, I mean, I had wonderful, wonderful therapists, and they got me up and going fast. But I did the work,
Yeah.
and so I want to share that with other women because I am alone. It's not a fun thought to think about growing older and not having anyone with you. And I know that a lot of people my age and younger are already experiencing mobility and balance issues, and strength can help with that, both of those things.
Absolutely. And I am not alone at the moment. That's I would say that I'm one of many women who think, well, if my partner goes before I do.
Mhm.
And so I also, I'm in that place where, well, I cannot do it today. And having you in my life reminds me, like, oh, no, no, no. No, every day you don't is a day you didn't, and that you're going to wish you did. So
Yeah,
I love you are kind. And at the same time, you have, to me, kindness is not mamby-pamby. It's not weak, it's strong. And
yeah.
to be able to be kind in all situations is strong, but you also educate very, very well. And I've been the product of that in terms of learning some things to keep myself going. And I really appreciate you for that. Brenda, as we wrap up, what would you say is the most important element in good client relations, if you will? So we're not talking about bringing people on.
Mhm.
Once they've said yes to you, what do you feel is the most important element that anyone in business must remember?
Um, Good communication, talking to people and listening to them. Because sometimes, and I find myself doing this, I've got all this stuff in my head. I'm just going to just spew all this information. Well, if it's not something somebody wants to hear, it falls on deaf ears. So listening to people and finding out what they need is very important. And then being able to communicate to them.
I'm going to tack on here because I agree with you, and I love that you do that. And I have something to compare it to. Of course, I won't mention the person's name,
Mhm.
but for more than a year, maybe 2 years, I was going to, we'll say, not a doctor, but a natural practitioner who was working with me physically, emotionally, mentally. And I would sit in and I would have questions, but it didn't matter that I had questions. Uh, She was all about education, but it was about making sure I heard her. And as much as I took notes, as much as I attempted to retain it, I didn't. And as a result, even though she told me, I wound up not doing a lot of the things that she told me to do because she never checked in on me. And when I had questions, it didn't matter. It was like she was going to tell me again. I can just remember sitting in her office and going, is she ever going to stop? And I left feeling stupid many times. And some people right now are going, then why did you keep going back? Because I really needed the support and it was helping to some degree. But then at a certain point, um, it wasn't. I'll just leave it
Mm.
at that. And so your style is extremely um, important to me. And I'm so grateful that you're here.
Um,
And I will tell everybody, I know Brenda well. She trains me at times. We don't live in this. If we lived in the same place, I'd be going to the gym with her every day. And she trains me, but I can tell you she walks her talk. And so whether you're single or not, if you would like to have strength training physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, Brenda's going to be the person you reach out to. Find her on Facebook. I've been scrolling her name there through the whole time. Brenda, thank you for coming into the studio with me today.
Thank you for all your kind words too. I love you. I'll just say it. I love you.
I love you too. And I don't care. This is not a new show. This is me sharing with you people who shine their light brightly so that other people can shine theirs. And Brenda is one of those. She is a true lighthouse in every sense of the word. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Until next time, shine on.
Thank you.